Saw this headline, why the Cowboys' new Tony Romo deadline doesn't make sense. Todd Archer of the Mothership covers the Cowboys, kind enough to join us. Todd, good morning. Why is Tony Romo still a Cowboy?
If anybody can crawl inside Jerry Jones's mind and figure this out, good luck to you. It doesn't make sense because we know he's not going to be a Cowboy in 2017, and we've had this time here where a trade could happen and nothing's gone down, and Jerry Jones always tells us a player's value is at its lowest point right near the draft, so nothing's going to happen then. And now you run into a situation where no one really knows what's going on. You have people starting to make the point that, oh, Jerry's upset with Tony or Tony's upset with Jerry, and really none of this is true. It's mind-boggling at the moment. I don't understand why a move hasn't been made yet. The end game for both sides should be fairly clear, and it should be an easy decision to make.
But if I look at this situation, we thought he was going to be released back on March 9th, I believe, and here we are at the end of March. Now it looks like he's going to be going to training camp. Are they hoping for an injury around the NFL that they can say, hey, Romo's here if you want to trade for him?
Perhaps, but this whole wait till training camp thing, if that's the game that they want to play, and I'm Tony Romo, I'll show up at the facility up in Frisco, Texas, the Star, the shiny new place that they got, put 800 pounds on the squat rack, get down there and blow my back out and say, hey, where's my $14 million? The Cowboys don't want to take that risk either. But the off-season program is voluntary. If the OTAs, the mini camp, the only thing that the June mini camp is the only deal that has to be that a player has to attend. So if you're Romo, show up to these things, and then you'll see how fast the Cowboys make a move on him because they don't want to risk him getting hurt. Go back to Steve McNair with the Tennessee Titans, I believe, in 2006. They borrowed him from the facility when his cap number was huge, and a judge ruled against the Titans in that case, and he eventually ended up with the Ravens. So you're looking at that scenario playing itself out here at some point.
If Tony Romo blows out his back lifting weights, you're going to be the guy who called it, Todd. I'll give you credit, all right? That'll be your exclusive. Sources close to you, and I
don't think they'd even allow him to get the 800 pounds on the rack. I think Jerry would run down to the weight room and say, all right, Tony, we're good. We're going to release you today, buddy.
But he said that, this is tops on his priority list to take care of Tony Romo. I'm going to guess they've had conversations where he's telling him, hey, I'll do right by you. Is he worried that that Houston is the only option and maybe he'd rather him go to Denver than Houston?
I can't imagine the Texans being not far down the road from here would be an option, and Jerry fearing the loss of Cowboys fans that were more Romo fans than Cowboys fans. I don't think that is a scenario. I think it's, I also, when Jerry says something, I go back to something Jerry told us years ago. Just because I said it doesn't make it so. And, Jerry, I was on the bus when Jerry came up with the do-right rule, which seems like a good line right now considering he hasn't done right by the quarterback. But there is a benefit to Romo that something hasn't happened yet from the Cowboys' perspective, and it's this. He's still in the process of making his mind up, do I want to play? And, this has bought him some more time to make that decision, and it has people like me and maybe you guys there saying, what are the Cowboys doing, putting the Cowboys in the bad guy hat here, where Tony can sit back and say, do I want to play, measure out all these factors? I have a young family, another child on the way. I've had these injuries. I'm good financially for the rest of my life. This has bought him some time. And now, we've all thought, well, it's Houston and Denver against each other. Well, maybe now it's Fox and CBS bidding against each other here and pumping up the price to get Romo to join them. So he has suitors and options to go to. It just might be in a broadcast booth as opposed to on the field.
We're talking to Todd Archer, the Mothership, covers the Cowboys. But I'm also looking at that as well, that Tony Romo as a game analyst, I see him more as a studio analyst. I think you want to take advantage of seeing him as opposed to hearing him. And I know Troy Aikman has made that seamless transition, but you're around Tony Romo. Do you see him going into this business and being a game analyst?
I can see him doing that, yes. When the cameras aren't on, from now as the quarterback, and Troy was the same way. Even though I wasn't covering the Cowboys back then, everybody said Troy was boring and dull and never said anything. But if you get Tony away from the cameras and off to the side, he can explain football to you in a way where an idiot like me understands what's going on. So I think that's where people, when you're watching the game, that's what you want. I think Tony would be actually really good at being able to break down the game in a simple way to show you all the things a quarterback, not only what a quarterback sees, but what a defensive back sees. When he's been hurt these last 3 years, he wears that earpiece for a lot of reasons, and some of it is to listen to the play call that's going as a quarterback, but he wants to hear what the defensive coaches are calling and saying and picking up that part of the game too. So he has a wide knowledge of the game, not just from the quarterback's eyes, but from a lot of people's eyes. I think he'd be really good at it.
Is Romo a better quarterback than Dak Prescott?
Yes. And that might be one of the reasons why Jerry Jones is not making this move, that he wanted this scenario where he'd have his quarterback of the future paired with Romo. And salary cap-wise, he can do this. He can keep Romo right now, and the Cowboys are under the cap. There's no move that they have to make. But clearly he never thought that Dak would come in and go 13-3, be the offensive rookie of the year. But Tony, at the level of quarterback play, Tony is better than Dak simply because of experience and knowledge and knowing the game more. Health, though, clearly is the biggest obstacle in this situation because he's only played in parts of 5 games the last 2 years. If Tony Romo is healthy, there's no question that he's better than Dak Prescott right now and would be the better quarterback for the Cowboys.
The gift that keeps on giving the Dallas Cowboys. Todd, thanks for joining us.
You got it. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
That's Todd Archer. Covers the Cowboys for ESPN.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.